The definition of happiness is a great big box of filament. At least that's happiness to me. Good morning, everybody. It's Stephen here for the Idiot Quilter, and welcome to my weekly vlog. This is vlog number 428 for October the 27th, 2025. Really close to Halloween Eve, aren't we? And all those little ghouls and goblins out there that I'm going to feed candy to. Yeah. Hope I don't have too many because I like leftover candy. Shouldn't have it, but we all do it, don't we? And I'm very proud of myself that I did not get into the Halloween candy, and I've had it here for a month. Yeah. Okay, moving right along. Let's take a look at what I've been working on. Okay, more of the Stormy Sea blocks. Those two you see up there with the yellow sticky note on them are all I've gotten done in the last week and a half. Now that I've got the tote bags all done that I've been working on, my Christmas tote bags, the ones from Dollarama, and I've got most of my Christmas gifts and things made with the 3D printer, I can now focus my attention on this quilt and hopefully get it done very soon. But you know me, squirrel, there may be something else just around the corner that I need to work on. And speaking of working on things, well, there it is. I did show this on So Chatty, but I'm very happy, very pleased with the way it turned out. This is the table runner set that I made for as a Christmas gift for my hairdresser. She wanted sage and aubergine, as you know, because I've done nothing but talk about sage and aubergine, you know, like aubergine. I've gotten really good at saying that word, aubergine. Yeah. Anyways, this isn't really a good picture in terms of true color because this is a little light. It's a little darker than that. It is more sage in the parts that look like gray. And the purpley parts are a deeper purple, more aubergine. Okay, I just said it. I could say the word. Now I can't. Eggplant. Okay, it's eggplant. These are the 4 matching placemats that I made as well. And I did those in the hoop on my embroidery machine. And the napkins I also did with my serger. Love my serger for napkins, for the edges, for a rolled hem, and also on the embroidery machine to do the design. And this little box here is a box of 3D printed napkin rings. And I couldn't get napkin ring. I didn't have the filament that was sort of a sage green or anything close, so I thought I'd just go with black and white because, you know, if she wants to use these napkin rings on other napkins she may have, she doesn't have to worry about matching them up or anything like that. I don't even know if matching your napkin rings with your napkins is a thing or not, but maybe for some people it is. So I thought I had some close-ups here. No, tomorrow I do have some close-ups, and I've got some explanation of a few things as well. So tune into the Quilter, and I'll talk about this in much more detail then. Okay, I've been up to a few other creative things too, but I'm saving those for when we get to the part where I talk about my 3D printers. But right now, let's talk about the Friends of Dorothy. Now, that may be expression you know or you don't know, and you probably associate it with the Wizard of Oz. You probably don't know it because it used to be considered a secret code phrase that was used in the gay community back, you know, many years ago when, you know, the gay community could not be open because of prejudice. And right now, at least in the United States, they seem to be putting the gay and LGBTQ community back into the closet, or trying to. We're not staying. But this was an expression, so you spotted one person that you thought was gay. If you said, you know, hi, how are you? And someone said in the conversation, well, I'm friends of Dorothy. Then, you know, they knew what tribe you played with. Ooh, that sounds kind of bad, but sorry, slept out. Anyways, this YouTube video clip explains what they call the yellow brick code that comes from the Wizard of Oz. And of course, Judy Garland was Dorothy in Wizard of Oz, and Judy Garland has become, because of that movie and other things, a gay icon. So here's what I'm talking about. This week's YouTube video clip is one that probably takes out the mystery of why in the gay community the Wizard of Oz is so popular. This is a documentary that explains exactly that and explains the phrase Friends of Dorothy, which used to be a phrase that was used in the days when people were underground about being gay or homosexual. And to figure out if somebody else was of the same mind, they would use the expression Friends of Dorothy. So there are a lot of things in The Wizard of Oz that are relatable to the gay world. And this documentary actually shows that. It's really quite an interesting thing. I learned a few things that I didn't know. And so if you've ever been curious about the relationship between Judy Garland, Friends of Dorothy, and the Wizard of Oz, then this is the video clip you should be checking out. Friends of Dorothy, the Yellow Brick Code, and the link is in the show notes. Now, I have a little funny story to tell you very quickly that's related to that, to the phrase, especially to the phrase Friends of Dorothy. Many, many years ago, when I was a department head at my school, I would throw a Christmas party on the last day of school or last couple of days of school for everybody in my department. And also, just at that time of the year, I had found out that, no, sorry, it wasn't a Christmas party, it was a summer party. No, it was a Christmas party. That one was a Christmas party. Yeah. I also invited anybody who might be in the next semester joining my department. Usually at that point in the year, there might be some transfers from other schools. And so this young lady came to the party, and I didn't really know her very well, but she was going to be a member of my department, so I wanted to make her feel welcome and, introduce her to the rest of the people in the department and things like that. And I don't know how we got onto it, but at one stage, she says, well, I'm Friends of Dorothy. And I thought, oh, no, I hate Dorothy. Now, there was a woman that I had in my department, or I worked with in another school many years ago, and she was, let's just say she and I did not get along very well, and she did everything she possibly could to undercut me and to, do nasty things all the time. So when this young woman said she was Friends of Dorothy, that's immediately what I thought of. And then my brain clicked in a little bit, went, oh, well, a little bit, rented lips. And I realized, oh, she is a lesbian. Beautiful lesbian. They can be, okay? Just saying. And then it dawned on me. So I took her aside and said, when you said Friends of Dorothy, because I made a comment or something, which in context didn't work with what she had said, in her mind, I'm sure. And so I explained it to her because she knew I was gay. And that was why she was identifying herself. I mean, I didn't ask her, would never have suspected, really. But anyways, that was what it was. And so she used the phrase Friends of Dorothy. I went, oh, okay. Sometimes I can be a little dense. Well, I know some of you are saying sometimes. Yeah, so I just thought I'd share that with you. Has nothing really to do with today's topic. Moving on. Okay, so you will find a link for that video in the show notes. You'll find a link for Sewing with Stephen on Wednesdays. You know the drill. I talk about it all the time. We always have a good time. New people are especially welcome. And there's links to all my friends' channels as well, if you've never checked them out, especially the ones that I had on the retreat as presenters. You may or may not know who they were. And if you are not familiar with them, you should check them out. And my coffee's cold because Echo didn't do her job. Or I didn't tell Echo. Echo, coffee on. Echo, coffee on.
Okay.
Okay. I guess she's not awake yet this morning. She needs a coffee as well. Okay, so that takes me to what the weather's like. Now, my whole day has been upset. My routine is off. I'm producing this later than I usually like to. I got up a little later. I was tired. Probably because of the retreat, I was exhausted. But whatever. Then I had another thing happen this morning that upset me a little bit, and I'll talk more about that later. So I went out for my walk, and well, this is the kind of day we're having. Now, when I went out for my walk, it was dark. Of course, dawn is, arising. I don't know if that's the right word right now. So usually the last few weeks, when I've shown you the pictures of what's outside my front step, it has been dark. So here you're getting a little better look. You can see that the leaves are falling, but we still have quite a few leaves on the trees. They haven't all fallen off yet, but first day in November, suddenly it'll all go thump. And then Walter will have to get out there and rake. He has just been biting at the chomp to get out there and rake the leaves. And you can see yesterday he did that. He raked the leaves and cut the grass. Yep. I've told him, I've said, why don't you wait till all the leaves fall off the tree? No, he says, there's too many then. Well, I don't know. My theory is God put the leaves there, God will take them away. Yeah. But that's not Walter's theory. So anyways, yeah, looks nice. I guess, yeah, it does look nice when it's all cleaned up. But anyways, so this is what kind of day it is out there. And right now the current temperature is -1 Celsius. So -1 Celsius, about 30 degrees Fahrenheit, so below freezing. So yeah, and this is the coldest day we have had so far in this season. So yeah, winter's approaching. And the weather for the rest of the day, though, it looks like it's going to be sunny, no rain in the forecast. Same with Tuesday and Wednesday. Unfortunately, Thursday and Friday are supposed to be rainy, and I hate it when it rains on Halloween. I really do. I mean, you get less kids, of course. Maybe that's a good thing. But they all look bedraggled. They look like, well, if you dropped a cat in a bathtub, that kind of look. Their little costumes are all wilting, or parents have made them wear their costume under a raincoat or something like that. And it's sad. It's just sad. And, and as much as I'm not really a fan of children, well, I don't want to see them drown when they're getting candy. No, so, well, if I have less kids, I can give a little bit more. And this year I'm giving out a little bit more than candy. I'll talk about that later on. So anyways, yeah, the weather's not looking bad. Saturday I have an event to go to, and it's going to be cloudy. It's going to be a bit brisk, but doesn't look like it's going to be raining, so that would be a good thing. Yeah. But anyways, so that's what things are looking like outside my doorstep. Okay, now I'm going to get a little serious. This is my segment where I usually talk about what's pissing me off. And I had a totally different topic than what I'm going to go in on now. But I've been thinking about this. I have a weird sense of humor. And I'm sure many of you who've been on here for a while get that. I also know that my sense of humor is not to everybody's taste. But that's okay. That's how things work. Now, I got a very nasty email this morning that had to do with my retreat. Now, this person took offense because they came late to my icebreaker cocktail party, really late, and I missed them when I usually go through, those of you who've never been to one, I give a chance for each individual to tell us where they're from, and if they've got something to show us that, and just to get to know people. It is an icebreaker after all, so that's the whole point of an icebreaker, right? Now, I will say things that I think are funny. Not everybody does. I get that. And I have a very sarcastic sense of humor. Always have. That's me. That's not going to change. This person, I made a joke about them coming really late. But it was a joke. They took offense to that and took that opportunity to tell me they had taken offense to it in this email they sent me this morning. And just basically did character assassination on me. Well, I sent them back an email and said, sorry, you don't. They started off with saying they had a thin skin. And I started off my reply to them, yes, you do have a thin skin. That was a joke. But I also thought, well, if you're going to character assassinate me, I'm going to point out a few things about your character. This is somebody I don't particularly like. I have never liked this person. I have never met this person in real life. But on the rare occasion when this person shows up in my live or shows up on one of my events, they tend to be very cranky. They tend to be super critical. And they seem to know everything there is to know about everything and are not shy about telling everybody they know everything about everything. They are a nasty person, okay? So, I thought about that when I was writing back my reply. I didn't write much, just to say that, okay, well, fine. You're not on my mailing list anymore. And I don't think they want to be on my mailing list. And they won't get invited to any of my events. But from the way the letter was written, or the email was written, I'm pretty sure that's not upsetting them. They don't want to be. And you want to know something? That is fine. I don't deal well with people that are like that. So this made me start to think a little bit about what we talked about yesterday, Walter and I. Walter had this idea. Yes, it was Walter's idea, and I'm not blaming him for it. I agreed with it totally. I thought it was a good idea, and I thought it was an opportunity for a little bit of humor. Where we were basically going to bitch about the things that bug us, our pet peeves. Actually, we made a list. It was quite long. Yeah, so I have made the joke that we are a couple of cranky old men, like the two old guys on the Muppet Show in the balcony, Waldorf and Statler. Okay, funny that their names start with the same first letter as our names. Maybe they were modeled after us. I don't know. But the whole thing, when we were talking about this, was more or less to be humorous, too. And many of you, I'm sure, got the humor because I've had a few messages, comments that say, yeah, they agreed with what we said, but they got the humor. And that's great, because that's what I wanted them to get. I didn't want to be insulting to anybody, and that's never my intention. I don't purposely try to insult people, but I don't know you. You have an advantage over me. You know me, because if you watch on a regular basis, you see who I am. I do not hide behind a persona. I am what I am. Always have been. Now, that's caused me a lot of problems in my life. When I was younger, well, still to this day, I never know when to keep my mouth shut. But my intent is never to basically to hurt anybody's feelings. But I know people who tend to be neutrals. What I mean by neutrals is you never know what they're thinking because they always say nice things. And after a while, that gets pretty boring. To be honest, I don't trust people who are constantly nice. Because, I don't know, maybe I'm tainted, but I don't believe anybody is always, always nice. I like it when somebody shows me their more nasty side because now I know they're real and I can relate better to those people. I can trust those people. And when they say something about me that is more critical, I take it to heart because I trust the person. I know the person. But complete strangers that I don't know, it's difficult for me to know whether they are trying to be funny. I oftentimes will take it as they're just being funny, like me. My sense of humor, if you don't know me well enough, you might think I'm a nasty old man. And maybe I am. I don't know. But that's my sense of humor. We all, in this world, we all are open to criticism. And what I mean by negative criticism. We run into this every day of our lives. How could we avoid it as human beings? We can't. And we can go and take our dolls and go home and cry, or we could get very offended and then become very self-righteous about it and create more problems for ourselves when we do that. Well, we need to toughen up. And that's one thing I learned as a teacher, because you get bombarded, not just by kids, but by parents, by administrators, by everybody talks about like having to be politically correct all the time. watch what you say in a classroom, watch your sense of humor, do this, do that, the whole bit. People are always at you trying to reshape who you are. You cannot reshape anybody's personality. We are born a certain way, and our personalities, according to psychiatrists, are shaped by the time we are 5 years old. So you can't reshape a person's personality. And most of the time when people want to reshape someone's personality, they want to do it because they want to shape it in the way they think that person should be. And that's just selfish and somewhat egotistical as well. So back to this situation. If we offended anybody on Stephen and Walter Live yesterday, please know, not our intention. We were trying to be humorous. Yes, what we may think is funny, other people may not. But want to know something? Professional comedians take the risk for their humor, and they know there are people who will be offended. And if you are offended by my sense of humor or anybody's sense of humor, then you can turn them off. In this environment right here, you can just hit the off button. You don't have to listen. And on YouTube, and many YouTube creators will agree with me on this one, I know, we have opened ourselves up to nasty comments. And we know that when you put yourself out into the public, you are going to get nasty comments. It's unavoidable. Most of the time, comments that I get on my channel are friendly, are nice, are constructive. But I've always get a few. And you'll often hear me say in a video, I don't want to hear any nasty comments about that to people. Again, part of my sense of humor. But I've left myself open to those. And I know I have. I only have myself to blame. I'm not blaming anybody else for that. But as I said, if I say something on here that you do not like and you're absolutely offended by it, just leave. Just unsubscribe. That's all you need to do. And, quite honestly, I don't care. The people I care about are the people who get my humor, enjoy my content, and are supportive. Yes, they can be constructively critical too, because I do take those in consideration. And if it's something I can change and I think it's worth changing, I will change it. The other thing too is what people may not know about me. If you are my friend, I am loyal. I am fiercely loyal to my friends, and I will stand up for my friends in times when they need to have somebody on their side. As long as those people don't break trust with me, meaning do something that has put me in a situation that was, very negative, extremely negative, then I have to question our friendship. But usually, once I get to know somebody and consider them a friend, and I just don't consider anybody a friend either. I am not one of those kind of people that goes to a party, meets you once, you're my friend for life. No. I've been burned too many times in my life when I was younger with that kind of thing. Nope. You have to, and this sounds arrogant, you have to earn my friendship. And it's not really earning my friendship as much as earning my trust. I have met many people on here, people who come to my sew days and things like that, and they're regulars on here. Those people, even though some of them I have never physically met, I consider friends because I trust them. And until they do something, as I said, that breaks the trust with me, I will continue to see them in a positive light. But there are also people that get my sense of humor. So you're not going to change me. Nobody can change me. I'm not going to try to change you either. And as I said, if there's something I say that absolutely offends you, then please don't waste your time sending me an email about it or writing a long epistle in the comment section. Just simply turn me off. Unsubscribe. That's okay. If that will make you happy and it'll make me happy, then it's a win-win in that situation. Okay, let's move on, shall we? Yeah, the grow lights. What's happening with all of that? Well, this is thrilling, at least to us. Okay, so here's grow light number one. We've got lettuce. Yes, we've got lettuce. And we will continue to grow lettuce throughout the winter. Here, we've got nothing. I'm not sure if Walter's put any seeds in here yet, but I know he planted this one little lonesome basil or basil, whichever way you prefer to say it, plant. Now, the unique thing about this is we learned something. Walter decided to take the basil we had outgrowing outside in the summer. He brought some of it in, trimmed them a little bit, and put them in water to see if they would root. They did. I didn't know you could root basil. Others of you out there probably knew that, but news to me. And so he's planted it, and it's surviving. And you know, it's always a shock to a plant system when you take it from one environment into another environment. Usually they go a little wilty and they go, you know, and die. But this one's surviving. Now he has more of them. So you want to see what would happen if you planted one and it's doing fine. I got the hiccups, sorry. And I'm a chronic hiccuper for some reason. Anyways, I digress. So yeah, it's doing really well. And another thing that's doing really well are our tomatoes. Now, we had this variety by accident. Walter planted a variety of different tomatoes, just kind of sight unseen, like didn't really pay much attention to what the packages said. And this is they call these ones kitchen tomatoes. They're basically a cherry tomato, but the bush they're on, it is a bush. It's very low growing. And which is great because under the lights, we tried to grow tomatoes last year under the lights, and they go spindly. They grow up to the light and get very, very tall, and they start to fall over, and you got to stake them up, and they just don't do that well. But these ones are doing really well because we have tomatoes. Yeah. And this is only after about a month. The other types of tomatoes we tried to grow took forever to get anything on them. And you can see we have lots of flowers. So where there's flowers, there's going to be tomatoes. So far, this is working out. So stay tuned. We'll see how big these get and how they ripen, how long that takes. But we're absolutely excited. Now, we do have a green pepper plant back here with a big pepper on it. That one, I think Walter... Yeah, that's planted. I think he started that from seed, and he's going to start more of them. So we'll have peppers and tomatoes, and basil, and lettuce. So we got the basis of a salad, basically, and that's what we want from growing all of these things. Okay, so the garden's doing well. Let's see, new products. Yes, okay, I bought another toy. I bought a second AMS. That's the one on the picture on the right. An AMS, if you don't know with 3D printing, is called an automatic material supply. It's basically a color changer. You can put 4 spools of filament, I almost said thread, 4 spools of filament into the AMS, and through the programs, the computer, and the 3D printer, it automatically switches color when it needs to switch color. The one disadvantage of it is you only have 4 colors. And right now I'm printing, and I'm going to show you this in a minute, a project that takes about 8 different colors, which means in order to get all 8 colors, I have to swap out rolls of filament, which, you know, adds more time to your print. And this particular print has a lot of pieces. So I decided, and I've been thinking about for a while, to buy a second one, and they just daisy chain into each other, and it's working beautifully. Now, am I done? No. My original X1C Carbon by Bamboo, which you can't see but sits behind me over off to the side, it has one AMS Pro. I eventually want to get a second one for it as well. So, yeah, this place looks like a factory floor in here. I can tell you that right now. Um, so I'm really thrilled with that new toy. And of course, I've been printing things as I usually do. So my nephew's girlfriend is a special needs teacher, and she takes some of the things I make that I give to her over to the kids, and the kids are thrilled with them. So my sister suggested to me maybe I could make more of them for her, for the kids that my nephew's girlfriend teaches. And I said, sure. So I took over to my sister to give um, to this young lady a bag full of stuff I had sitting around here because, I make them and then, what am I going to do with them? I don't play with toys much. Well, that's not true. I do play with toys, toys for big boys. But anyway, so then I got thinking, maybe she'd like to give her kids something special just before the Christmas holidays. So I've been scouring Maker World and other places where I get my models to find some interesting things. So this was a couple of things I found. This Santa I thought was really cute. He has articulated legs. He prints in place, which means I don't have to do any assembly. He comes right off the printer looking like this. The AMS works well with him because he's about 4 different colors involved in here in printing, but he takes forever to print because of the color changes. That's one of the disadvantages of the AMSs because they have to purge, meaning clean out the gunk in their nozzle before they run through another color, and that creates printer poop, which you've heard me talk about before. And that's one of the biggest complaints about this type of system that 3D printers have. It's the amount of waste, all this printer poop. Now they are developing new machines. They're called tool head exchangers, which basically they have 4 or 6 hot ends, the nozzles, and you preload all the nozzles with your filament, and then during your process of printing, the machine does its little print, goes to the back of the machine, drops the tool head, the hot end that it has in it, then goes to another one, picks it up, and carries on. Does it all in about 5 to 7 seconds, according to what I was watching yesterday on YouTube about it, and there's a whole lot less waste and purging out, and it's faster. So you know what I'm thinking, aren't you? Because Bamboo Labs, and I love my bamboos, is developing one. I imagine it'll be very pricey. I'm not sure when it'll come out. But yeah, that's in my sights when it does come out, once all the bugs are worked out of it as well. You don't really want to buy one of these machines when it first hits the market because, yeah, there are things, just like anything that's new, that, might not work as well as you were hoping. But anyways, that's down the road, probably quite a ways down the road, but who knows? But in the meantime, I'm still experimenting with other prints. Ideally, I want something that moves. They call it articulated, that prints in place, no parts to assemble. I can do in multiple colors and doesn't take a day to print one of. So I'm still on the hunt. These dragons have a lot of potential right now because they are articulated, their tails, and this one I printed with the AMS, so you see the different colors. But that only took about an hour and a half, so that's pretty good. This one I printed on my older one, the screen one, on my older Creality printers, which are still working, by the way, and I need to use them more. And I need to get into using them for single color items because they will print those a little faster when they don't have to change colors. And yeah, they do a good job on print in place too. So yeah, I'm hunting around for these things and we'll see what we come up with. Okay, now I told you that I got the other AMS so I don't have to change colors as often. And this is one of those projects that has 8 colors in it. This is called the Tuscan Villa. This is not mine. This is a picture of what the finished product should look like. This is another one of those few Fulv, Fulv. Never sure how to say his name or his title. And I have made several of his, and I love them. I absolutely love making them. And they're so well designed. You've heard me say that before. And if you remember Dracula's Castle, the theater, the Christmas Mansion, and the Haunted Mansion, and the Gypsy Trailer one, all of those ones I have made, and now I'm making this one. And that, as we speak, is what my printer with all the AMSs attached to it is working on right now. It's got a lot of pieces, lots of assembly. But as I said, his models are so well designed that putting them together is a breeze. He also has one I really want to get my hands on, and it's one that has a moving conveyor belt in it, and it's called the Toy Factory. It is a Christmassy one. After I get this one together, I might purchase that one. Yes, these are, you have to pay for these, but they're not expensive. I think this one cost me about 20 bucks Canadian, maybe 22, which I think is very reasonable given how complex they are. The Toy Factory one has a moving conveyor belt where there's gifts going by on the top of it. So I'll have to buy an additional little kit for the motor in it and everything like that. But this might be something that is going to take me out of my comfort zone. One, putting something together that has moving parts that are electronic. And I'm not sure what the conveyor belt's made of. It might be made of a filament called TPU. I'm a little iffy about using TPU. My machines supposedly will handle it, but I think it's very fumey, and I am not vented to the outside. I need to do some research about that. It's also about double the price for a spool of it in comparison to what I usually use for filament. So we'll see. But you know, you got to extend yourself too. Keep things going. Okay, so let me come back here. Oh, I forgot to show you the piece de resistance. This I just finished yesterday. The Nutcracker. He is huge. Yes, I couldn't print him in one piece. He's in many, many pieces, but they're big pieces. And this is where my Bamboo H2S came in handy, because it has a bigger build plate. And I am really happy with this. He stands about 38 inches tall. And Walter said, well, where are we going to put him? Are we going to put him outside? I don't know. We might. We might put him outside as a Christmas decoration. I have to think about it. I am seriously considering making another one. They take a bit of time. They take a lot of filament. But, you know, now that I know how he goes together and everything like that, then, yeah, the second one should go together a little better. I had a few little problems with this. Had to get out a file to make some things fit. But, and I was covered in glue. My hands yesterday, you know, and it's a type of super glue that you use on this. Well, I had to get out, you know, paint thinner to clean off my hands. I'm still smelling paint thinner in this house. So, yeah. But anyways, I'm really happy with the way this turned out. So, you know, there's lots of things you can do with your 3D printer. And this is the biggest thing I have ever made with the 3D printer. And now this has broken a barrier for me too. I don't think I'm going to be as afraid to attempt a few of the other really large ones. I've stayed away from them before. But yeah, I got to make full use of my printers. So, okay. So that takes me to a clip from Stephen and Walter Live. And last week and the week before, there was a part 1, part 2 of where we talked about our cleaning lady and a problem we had with some of that, with her help that came with her, and basically, you know, stealing an old iPhone from us, that kind of thing. That was all resolved, as you saw last week. This week, I continue the conversation about, you know, cleaning people, finding a good person that you're going to allow into your house when you may not be here to basically go through your things as they clean, or they're cleaning them, okay, that kind of thing. So here was our discussion about on cleaning people?
My cleaning lady, but it's because I'm somewhat anal retentive. Um, I have to come in and straighten things around a little bit.
Like she leaves the blinds up
She
sometimes.
leaves our blinds up a little bit, and she'll move like the coasters or little
Turn the
art
lights off.
and stuff. Yeah, but these are so minor. I just go and do the cleanup. That's my
Well, I
OCD
know. I
coming in.
sometimes wonder if they do that just to make it look like they've been there.
Well, maybe. But she's always been good.
Yeah.
Um,
And like years ago when I had an accident with my leg, and so I was at home for about 8 weeks, and and she would come in and clean around me, and she was always really good.
yeah, well,
So
Craft and Bev says, I have one rule, leave my craft room alone. She didn't. Yeah, I've told her not to move any of my stuff in my craft room around. I said, just dust around it, kind of a thing. Don't worry about it. In fact, when I first, there was times when I got into having a big craft room and that, I told her, this room has got a lot of stuff in it. You don't have to worry about cleaning it. Um, I'll do that. Don't worry about it. Just leave it alone. But she still cleans it, and she doesn't move my stuff around though in that, so that's good. And then I have my little village. What people always think, oh, you've still got your Christmas village up after Christmas. No, it's up all year round. So those little miniature houses and things like that. And I leave it
she
up.
looked at it and was like freaking
She
out.
just about freaked when she saw it. I said, this you do not have to dust. I said, after a while, the dust that's here will look like snow, so it'll go with it. And when I have too much snow, I will clean it all up from that. Our house isn't that dusty to start with, but I do like once a year, year and a half, and that. She still kind of wipes around it a little bit, but I said, don't. I could see it in her eyes the time when she came in way back, and I go, and I went, no, don't worry, don't expect you to do anything with that. Um, Catherine says, for 5 years I took care of hundreds of homes when they were gone and fed and cared for the cats, and I was bonded. Yep. Yeah, most people are. Well, that do these things as a business. And Anita says, another area to be mindful of is caregivers coming into the elderly homes. Yes, we know that. In fact, we're sort of cleaning my mother's apartment now for her, just once a month. It's not, she does some light cleaning, but her mobility isn't that good. And thought about getting maybe a cleaning lady, but I don't know who to get. My cleaning lady, I don't think will go that far away to do my mother's place. And you get somebody you don't know, even if you get a company, they might steal things from my mother because they figure, well, they're old. Actually, I said that to this kid. I said, just because we're 60-year-old men doesn't mean we're senile. I said, but you did make us feel like we had Alzheimer's with it. Um, oh, Maria says, it's not dust, it's a protective layer. Yeah.
So that takes me to events in the past week. Well, the big event, of course, was my fall retreat. I got a lot of really nice emails and comments about it. People seem to have enjoyed the day, really enjoyed the presenters. And yes, the presenters I had, Becca from So Becca, Ian from the Off Quilter Crafter, and Adam from Adam Sews, plus John from Art East Company, Art East Quilting Company. They made the day. They really did, and I'm so appreciative of them for doing it because they don't get paid. They do it out of the goodness of their heart, and I really really appreciated that. And all the people that attended did as well, from what I hear from the comments. So that's great. So will there be another retreat? Yes, there'll be the spring retreat. I don't know who I'm going to get as presenters. Maybe you have some ideas. I like to have people who have YouTube channels and not necessarily the big, huge names like Jenny Doan, that kind of thing. No, because those people I don't think would be coming to my little channel to do a retreat kind of a thing. But if you've got suggestions, just put them in the comments or send me an email and I'll make a list. And when I get closer to when I'm going to actually start my actual planning for the retreat, I will take these suggestions into consideration. Okay, so that was last week. And what's coming up? Well, Halloween, of course. I've got my candy ready. And this year I am giving out little 3D toys as well. I've made a whole bunch of them. Actually, I may have made too many. Like, oh, I probably made 300. I do not have 300 kids come to the door. I'll be lucky if I have 10% of that kind of a thing. But, you know, you make one, you just get on a roll. And so along with their chocolate, I'm going to give them a toy too. Now these toys are not recommended for children under 3. So if I see some like kids that age, if they come to the door, usually their parents are there, I'm going to say to the parents, is it okay that they can have one of these? Because, you know, I don't want to be the cause of somebody's demise. Oh, that went dark very quickly, didn't it? But anyways, yep, that's Friday. And as I said, they say it's going to rain. Let's hope they're wrong, because I don't want soggy kids coming to the door, as I said. Okay, and on Saturday of this coming week, we're going to a guild quilt show. It is called, let me see, I think I thought I took a picture. Oh no, I'll talk about that tomorrow. Yeah, I'll talk more about this quilt show we're going to and our plans for it tomorrow on the Idiot Quilter. But needless to say, it's going to be a busy weekend, which is just fine by me. I like being busy. Okay, well, this went on for a while, didn't it? Yeah. So if you're still with me, thank you. If I didn't offend you, thank you. If I did offend you, well, you know what to do about that. So I hope you have a great week, and we'll talk to you later. Bye for now.